And the choice for America is this. What Biden and Harris and Newsom want to do is take the California model and do that nationally. In Florida, we showed that conservative principles work. This country must choose freedom over failure.
Hello, family. Welcome back to another episode of Journey to Harmony. I'm your host, Richard Harmon. I want to come today and talk to you guys about the debate between Gavin Newsom and Ron Desantis. Gavin Newsom is the governor of California. Ron DeSantis is the governor of Florida. And I think first and foremost, I want to applaud whether it's Newsom, DeSantis, Fox. I think more importantly than anything, if we're going to have a constructive conversation in terms of what's best for the nation, there needs to be more dialogue between both sides in terms of having the nation be able to decide what is best based upon the policies that are heard from both sides. And part of that is necessary is that being able to be in the same room discussing these topics in front of the nation. So with that said, Ron DeSantis had regular talking points that many of the conservative party speak about the crime that's going on in California. He spoke a bit about the net migration out of California and how people are voting with their feet for the most part, and they're leaving, going to places like Texas, like Las Vegas, like Phoenix, and like Florida, because the main focus, I think, right now in people's lives is in general, it's going to be safety, somewhere to live, and food to eat. And in many places around the country right now, you're seeing that the cost of living, you're seeing that the ability to live a safe life and just to have a place to lay your head down is being more and more constricted. I'm going to play a video here. We'll watch a little bit of this. Your first time joining, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing. Let's go ahead and watch this video.
It's a simple question. How do you explain this phenomenon? Governor, what's going on?
When I was in the Navy, I got orders to go to Naval Amphibious Base Coronado in Southern California. And I was a lifelong Floridian, but I went there and I was like, man, this is one of the most beautiful places on earth. And I think California has more natural advantages than any state in the country. You almost have to try to mess California up. And yeah, that's what Gavin Newsom has done since he's been governor. He's the first governor to ever lose population. They actually at one point ran out of U-Hauls in the state of California because so many people were leaving. Of course, he's imposed restrictions on his own people while exempting himself from those restrictions and going to the French Laundry while his people were suffering. He led the country in school closures, locking kids out of school while he had his own kids in private school in person. Now, he's very good at spinning these tales. He's good at being slick and slippery. He'll tell a blizzard of lies to be able to try to mask the failures. But the reality is they have failed because of his leftist ideology.
All right, perfect. So we heard there Ron DeSantis' explanation on what he thought or the reason why people were moving to Florida as opposed to California. California, no doubt, has advantages that are unbelievable. They are nearly the entire coast of the Pacific Ocean. They have amazing different environments. You have just about every different season is in California. You can go to the mountains, you can go to the beach, you can go to see areas that are more seasonal as well. And it's very difficult, as Ron DeSantis said, to mess up what's going on in California. But we see still nonetheless that there are issues that are going on there. And a lot of that has to deal with the overall politicians that are in place. When I think about Ron DeSantis is, Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom looks like what we think of when we talk about a politician. He's kind of moves his own way and talks his own talk. You ask a question, he's kind of, be able to move and adjust from that particular space. I think, again, that while there are obvious issues with the Democratic Party with a lot of their policies, I think also we have to acknowledge that the movement of people, and as good as things have been coming from for people who are leaving from California and New York, they're causing a serious issue for natural Southerners. As they're moving in, they're paying a quarter of what they paid in their natural states, and they're buying many of these houses cash. They're moving in and they're taking up a lot of the resources that may have once been for the natural citizens of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, and Texas, and pushing a lot of people out. The cost of living has become astronomical, and now it's Ron DeSantis' time to show what it is that he's capable of doing by being able to find a way to make housing affordable for those who are there. Eventually, there needs to be a law passed for these investment companies to not be able to take housing from the natural citizens. I'll go ahead and continue with the debate. We can watch it more from there.
Now, this is an important conversation, and I think it's important to the folks watching. They're probably wondering, what are we actually doing here? And I want to answer that very directly. I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here to tell the truth about the Biden-Harris record, and also compare and contrast Ron DeSantis' record and the Republican Party's record as a point of contrast that's as different as daylight and darkness. You want to bring us back to a pre-1960s world, America in reverse. You want to roll back hard-earned national rights on voting rights, on civil rights, on LGBTQ rights, on women's rights, not just access to abortion, but also access to contraception. You want to weaponize grievance. You are focusing on false separateness. You in particular, Ron, are on a banning binge, a cultural purge, intimidating and humiliating people you disagree with. You and President Trump are really trying to light democracy on fire. So, Sean, there are profound differences tonight, and I look forward to engaging them. But there's one thing in closing that we have in common, is neither of us will be the nominee for our party in 2024.
Governor, great opening statement, but it did not address the issue. Can you explain this?
Okay, perfect. So the next topic of discussion was moved now to the abortion topic. This is a hot button issue where a lot of people are kind of feeling a middle ground type of scenario. There are people on both sides. There are people who want to have unlimited rights in terms of abortion. There are people who believe that it is not right at all to have abortion. And I think many people in America, just like on every topic, there's some people who lay somewhere in the middle. So most people believe in a 6-week ban or something of that nature. Children are born at conception. They are at conception. You have a child. From there, it's not a fetus or anything of that nature. But as we're here right now, there are people. It's a decision that will have to be voted upon. And I think many people around the country will have their issues. We know that it was Roe versus Wade was struck down. I believe it's 2022 overall by the Supreme Court. And many people are having an opportunity to weigh in on this. It's a very emotional topic as people want the right to decide. And, it's going to be a topic that is at the top of people's minds, because it deals directly with the body, and not just the body of the person, but also the body of the child, and is always going to have an issue. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of this particular debate. We can hear a little bit more about what each governor has to say about the particular issues in terms of their state and their stance. And after that, we can go ahead and go from there.
All good.
Most medical professionals believe a baby is viable outside of a mother's womb by between 24 and 26 weeks. That is the general scientific consensus. It changes. There are some variations on it. Abortion is legal in your state, quote, up to viability, is my understanding, unless the mother's health is in danger. Right. I'd like to get you on the record. You've been unwilling to answer this question. Should there be any restrictions on the issue of abortion that you support at all? Because funding in California, you have allocated in your budget $265 million for abortion last year alone. My question, very specific, do you support any restrictions at all on abortion, especially in months 7, 8, and 9, past viability?
I'm going to answer that question, but let's talk about the issue of abortion. Let's talk about the issue of abortion.
You're going to answer it?
I'm going to answer that question. Okay. I'll repeat that. But I think this is important, and it bears repeating. Ron DeSantis has signed the most extreme anti-abortion bills in America. He signed a bill banning any exceptions for rape and incest. And then he said it didn't go far enough and decided to sign a 6-week ban before women even know they're pregnant, Ron, before women can even access a doctor's appointment. So extreme is your ban that criminalizes women and criminalizes doctors that even Donald Trump said it was too extreme. On the issue of the extreme exception that you highlight as it relates to the issue of later term abortion, it's almost always because of a fetal anomaly, the life of the mother. And in those rare cases, I trust, and answer your question, I trust the mother and her doctor to make that decision.
So in other words, I want to be clear on this. If a woman and her doctor, for any reason,
not for any reason.
No. I'm asking.
Extremely rare.
Should there
this
be?
Is a canard. I know where you guys are going, Sean. You're even uncomfortable with this whole issue, and I understand it. This is where you guys have to go to cover for the extreme anti-abortion agenda of Ron DeSantis.
Should there be?
Who's hurt your party.
Would you support a ban on abortion in 7th, 8th, or 9th month if the mother's life is not in jeopardy?
Extreme exception. People aren't going on and having abortions.
Should it be illegal then?
Unless something devastating is happening.
Should it be illegal?
It should be up to the mother and her doctor and her conscience. And it
so
almost
the answer is
always,
no restriction.
I've already answered it.
No restriction.
All right, perfect. So yeah, so the debate overall and the idea, I think, was an excellent decision. I think in general, between whether it's Nikki Haley, it's Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, it's great to see your thought points and your beliefs in terms of your party's standing in contrast with that of a different party. So it'd be great if Kamala Harris, if Joe Biden, if any person who is vying for that particular candidacy, another person, RFK Jr., he has been big in the news, and I think a lot of people would love to see his thoughts in a debate style. I think one thing in particular stood out here to me. Ron DeSantis isn't great in terms of having a group discussion. If you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different people on a stage at the same time, he's more of a controlled individual in terms of his approach. But you got to see a lot of the highlights of his thoughts in today's particular debate. He had a very strong debate in terms of debating against Gavin Newsom, and I think that overall his policies are very strong. But he's going to face a serious test in the coming months, in the coming years. There is a serious issue of affordability that's going on in Florida. As great as things have been, it's awesome that people are moving there. But those who are running the everyday society of things, the healthcare workers, the nursing aides, the people who run daycares and things of that nature, teachers, those of the like, are having real trouble being able to afford the cost of living as it has been elevated so high due to the movement of people from higher cost of living areas. And he's going to have his continued state of being in that particular place will largely be judged based upon whether or not he's able to answer that particular question. This was an interesting debate, and again, we hope to see many more of it. Neither one of these, as stated, will likely be the nominee for 2024. But we will see exactly how this plays out, and if there are any additional thoughts that can be placed on this. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who will be weighing in. Donald Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley will all look to have their own critiques of Ron DeSantis and to be able to go from there. So what are your thoughts? Please comment below, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good day.